Sheila Jackson Lee was a change maker. She worked with all her heart to lift up the people of her city, of her state, and of our nation. And to honor her memory, let us continue to fight to realize the promise of America, a promise of freedom, opportunity, and justice, not just for some, but for all.
Vice President Kamala Harris earlier today eulogizing the late Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, talking about the trail she blazed in politics, promising to continue Sheila Jackson Lee's legacy. Now, this comes as Harris continues to make history with her run for the presidency. Today, the DNC began the process of nominating her as the first black female nominee for president with a virtual roll call. But as Harris continues to energize voters and break barriers, she's also faced attacks from racists seeking to undermine her candidacy, including from the former president of the United States, Donald Trump. Yesterday, Trump lashed out, questioning her racial heritage, saying that she was Indian, but, quote, then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person, an attack that he continued today. For the record, Vice President Kamala Harris is black and Indian. Donald Trump may not know it, but it's actually possible to be both. Vice President Harris last night responded to Donald Trump once again, proving himself to be one of the most predictable bigots in professional politics. Listen to what she said.
It was the same old show. The divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better. The American people deserve better. The American people deserve a leader who tells the truth, a leader who does not respond with hostility and anger when confronted with the facts. We deserve a leader who understands that our differences do not divide us. They are an essential source of our strength.
Joining the conversation with me at the table, New York Times editorial board member and MSNBC political analyst Mara Gay, and Democratic strategist and professor at Columbia University, MSNBC political analyst Basil Smikle. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being here. Now that we're over the shock of what happened yesterday, because it was shocking even though you expected what was going to happen, what do you make of it? Mara, what was going on there? What was Donald Trump's goal and intent when he sat down at the NABJ?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I surely believe that he went with the intention of showing himself and his hardest core right-wing supporters that he is fully ready to put black people in their place, particularly black women. I think as weird as this was to some people, it's not weird to me, it's familiar. Right. I think for a lot of black Americans, the experience of somebody saying to you, a white person saying to you, oh, you think you can be fully American? You think you deserve this job? You're just a DEI hire. You don't belong here. Uppity, whatever you want to kind of go there with. So that's really what this was about. I also believe that it was an attempt to change the conversation, which had been largely focused on Kamala Harris's electrification, if you will, of the Democratic Party. And I think that he personally needed a serotonin rush, and that this is his comfort. This is where he's comfortable. This is his red meat. It's also all he has to offer the American people. And it's a reminder that it's the same old divisive playbook. Right. Hateful, dividing America. I don't believe it's what most Americans want to see or where they want to go. And I also just have to say that the performative nature of what we saw yesterday is really important.
Right. If you didn't watch it and you heard the words, you'd say, well, that's strange that he talked about Kamala Harris being Indian and black. But when you watched how he did it, it was a different experience.
Yeah, this was an attempt also to say, him calling the VP not black or someone who just turned black. Right. That's really an attempt to say, in a country where white men have largely historically defined who is black, who is white, who's anything they want them to be. Right. It's an attempt to say, you don't get to define who you are, Vice President Harris. I get to say who you are. You think you can be president? You think you can be a black woman and be a journalist? You're nothing. That's what that was.
All three of us sitting at the table would have backgrounds that Donald Trump would find challenging to describe, because apparently you're just supposed to have one box that you check. You yourself are not in one box. You'd find yourself, if Donald Trump were at this table, he'd also probably tell you something.
As a child of Jamaican immigrants, I think and Tamar's point, it's a great point, because he has this history of othering people, right? You don't fit in very cleanly into this box that I am creating for you to be able to check off, right? And I've said yesterday, he wants to be the arbiter of blackness. He wants to be the arbiter of what is racially acceptable versus not. We've seen this before. He did this with Barack Obama. He created birtherism, right? But as an attempt to other him and diminish him. He's not, he's too uppity. He's this, and he won't exactly use those words, but what he was trying to do, and your performative is a great way to explain what happened yesterday, because what he's saying is, I know you better than you know yourselves. And I'm going to dictate how you need to fall in line so that you could be more acceptable to this larger audience. And if you don't think that has policy trails, look at Florida. Look at the attempts to try to change K-12 curriculum, trying to say that, no, we're going to change the language of your AP African American Studies exam to make it sort of streamlined to this,
and acceptable.
And adhere to this kind of rubric. And think about the bill that they tried to pass that was scheduled to take money away from college-based organizations like mine, Alpha Alpha and AK, who's that Vice President Kamala Harris is a member of, to try to keep them from doing the civic engagement that they do. It's an attempt to create this singular narrative for America.
Right.